Before the video gets started, I just want to ask if you guys can please go down and drop a like on the video. This is the longest I've ever worked on a video, and I'm really proud of it and the way it turned out. I didn't want to make it too long, so I didn't talk too much about each NHL player, but even if you guys disagree with my list, don't go disliking the video. Just let me know down in the comment section what your list would be, and if you're confused as to what this video is about, I'm basically picking the best prospect from each NHL team and ranking them from 31 all the way up until number 1. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. At number 31 is Gabriel Carlson of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He was originally drafted in the first round with the 29th overall pick by the Blue Jackets, and coming into the league, his scouting report was he's a big stay-at-home defenseman with excellent reach and good hockey sense. Carlson is also quite mobile for his big size and has a good first pass. Offensively, he will never put up any big numbers, but has the potential to become a more than capable shutdown defenseman, and in my opinion, he can really become a leader for the blue line and just add to the fantastic blue line that the Columbus Blue Jackets have already built together with Werenski and Jones, and this guy, we could see him playing full-time in the NHL in the next couple of years and being a guy that can play shutdown minutes against the other team's best line. At number 30 is Yogi Haru of the Chicago Blackhawks, drafted with their first round pick, 29th overall in the 2017 draft, and he's put up some very solid offensive numbers in junior, playing for the Portland Winterhawks, having a 48-point season, and then really breaking out and showing his true passing ability this past season with a 71-point year, and with the Chicago Blackhawks kind of leaning towards more of a youth movement and kind of like out with the old and in with the new, we could see Yogi Haru playing some good minutes for the Chicago Blackhawks within the next couple of seasons. At number 29 is Joshua Norris, an American-born center drafted with the 19th overall pick by the San Jose Sharks in the 2017 NHL draft. And with Joe Thornton likely on his way out in the next couple of seasons, we really could see Josh Norris get some hefty minutes at the center position for the Sharks sooner than you think. Scouts coming into the league had this to say about Josh Norris. He has good patience with the puck and selects his shots and passing lanes well. He's a pass-first player, yet he can find the back of the net with his quick release and accurate shot. And after being drafted by the Sharks, a lot of scouts were comparing him and said he has some of the same attributes as Logan Couture, a center that currently does play for the San Jose Sharks. So I really do think he has the potential to be a solid center in the NHL for the San Jose Sharks. At number 28 is Michael McLeod, getting drafted in the 2016 NHL Draft, 12th overall by the New Jersey Devils. He's currently the captain of the Mississauga Steelheads, and coming into the draft and after being drafted by the Devils, no one really had too high expectations for him, and he wasn't expected to come into the league and make an immediate impact. So in my opinion, that was good for him because he didn't have pressure on him, and he's quietly been putting up some solid numbers down in the OHL for the Steelheads, and he's even appeared in 6 games for the Devils American League team, getting 1 assist for 1 point in 6 games, so he's looking like he could be a very solid prospect for the future of the New Jersey Devils. At number 27 is Ryan Polin of the Montreal Canadiens. He was drafted in the first round, 25th overall in the 2017 draft. He's an American-born center, and the centers that got drafted kind of late in this draft don't really get talked about a lot because this draft was so deep on centers. Obviously, you had Hischier and Patrick 1 and 2, and then Pedersen and Middlestat and those guys. A bunch of fantastic centers got drafted in the 2017 draft, and Polin doesn't get talked about a lot, but he's been putting up some solid numbers in the NCAA with 31 points in 36 games. I know it says 21 on the screen. I meant to put 31 there, but Polin has the potential to be a pretty solid player and a good depth forward for the Montreal Canadiens in the future. At number 26 is Logan Brown of the Ottawa Senators. He was drafted 11th overall in the 2016 NHL Draft, and he is a massive center. He is 6'6", and he plays well in both ends. He can hold his own in the defensive end, and he can be a dominant force using his huge frame on the offensive end. As you can see, he puts up some very good offensive totals for the Windsor Spitfires and the Kitchener Rangers of the OHL, so Ottawa has to have been liking what they're seeing so far from their recent 11th overall pick, Logan Brown. At number 25 is Cal Foote of the Tampa Bay Lightning. He was drafted in the 2017 NHL Draft with the 14th overall pick. He's a defenseman, and he's a big one too. He's 6'4", 212 pounds, and being drafted, he wasn't really known as an offensive defenseman and more for his shutdown play and playing against the other team's top lines, but he's been putting up some very, very impressive offensive numbers in junior, and hopefully for Tampa Bay's sake, that can carry over to the NHL, but it is going to be pretty hard for Cal Foote to crack the roster with how deep the Tampa Bay Lightning's defense core is. At number 24 is Ryan Donato of the Boston Bruins. He was drafted in the 2014 NHL draft in the second round with the 56th overall pick, and the Boston Bruins really do have to be happy with what they got value-wise at the 56th overall pick. He's already played in 12 NHL games and has 5 goals and 4 assists for 9 points. This guy's a natural-born goal scorer, and you can see that throughout his collegiate career stats. He's gotten more goals than assists in all of his seasons, so the Boston Bruins really do have a lot of good young pieces heading towards the future, and I think Ryan Donato is going to be a huge part of that. At number 23 is Daniel Sprong of the Pittsburgh Penguins. He was drafted in the 2015 NHL draft 46th overall. He's a right winger that played his junior career with the Charlottetown Islanders. He's already played in 26 NHL games and has 4 goals and 1 assist for 5 points. And like Donato, he's a natural-born goal scorer. And before the season started, he was a guy a lot of people were looking at as maybe a Calder Trophy favorite, but that didn't really work out as he played most of his season in the American Hockey League, where he was a point-per-game player. So he really is a diamond in the rough find by the Pittsburgh Penguins, and it seems they're always finding these type of players. So it's no surprise that Daniel Sprong is looking like he's going to be a stud in the future. At number 22 is Michael Rasmussen of the Detroit Red Wings, and he kind of makes me a little bit nervous because they are my favorite team. He was drafted with the 9th overall pick in the 2017 draft, and Detroit kind of went off the board drafting him. He's 6'6" and he's 220 pounds, so he has fantastic size and he has a nose for the net. He always finds a way to get his stick on the puck for deflections and tap-ins, and I think he's a guy who could be a power play specialist, kind of like a James Van Riemsdyk type of player for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Michael Rasmussen, a guy who I'm hoping to see in a Detroit Red Wings uniform next season, and I think if he lives up to his full potential, he can really be one of the better players coming out of the first round of the 2017 draft. At number 21 is Kailer Yamamoto of the Edmonton Oilers. He was drafted with the 22nd pick in the first round of the 2017 draft, and he's put up some very good numbers with the Spokane Chiefs of the WHL, and in my opinion, he's a perfect player to play alongside Connor McDavid because he has crazy, ridiculous speed, and those are really the type of players I think McDavid can thrive off of playing with. Guys that can keep up with him, as Milan Lucic and Patrick Maroon and guys like that really just can't keep up with Connor McDavid. He's small, but small players in the NHL are kind of paving their way, and some of the best players in the league today are small players, so I think Yamamoto has a fantastic future with the Oilers. At number 20 is Dylan Strohm of the Arizona Coyotes. He was drafted with the 3rd overall pick back in the 2015 NHL draft, and coming into the league, he had high expectations, and the Coyotes really wanted him to be a franchise-changing player. He played with Connor McDavid and Erie in their junior, and they put up a ridiculous amount of points together, and Dylan Strohm hasn't really lived up to the hype just yet, but he has crazy potential still. He really did have a season to build off of, in my opinion, and I think it's a good step forward how he had over a point per game in the American Hockey League this year, and I think we can see him putting up some decent numbers and playing a prominent role with the Coyotes next season. At number 19 is Timothy Liljegren of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was drafted in the first round, 17th overall in the 2017 NHL draft, and obviously the Toronto Maple Leafs really are in need to bolster up that defense core, and I think Liljegren can be a huge part of that. They decided to play him in the American Hockey League right away with the Toronto Marlies, and I think that was a good decision. He played very well, only scoring 1 goal, but had 16 assists for 17 points, and he was a plus player, and the team went all the way to the Calder Finals, and they are actually in a Game 7, I believe that is tonight, so Liljegren really is getting a lot of experience, and I think he could potentially crack the lineup as soon as next year. At number 18 is Kieffer Bellows of the New York Islanders. He was drafted with the 19th overall pick back in the 2016 NHL draft. He's a left winger and he has good size at the position. He's a natural born goal scorer. He's played in the USHL, he's played in the NCAA, and his most recent season came in the WHL where he put up 41 goals, and Bellows actually came on record to say that he is expecting to crack the roster and play a full-time role for the New York Islanders next season, so we'll have to wait and see what happens for him, but he certainly has fantastic potential to be a great goal scorer in the NHL. At number 17 is Christian Vesalainen of the Winnipeg Jets. He's 6'4", 209 pounds, so he has very good size from a wing. The Winnipeg Jets drafted him in the first round, 24th overall in this previous NHL draft, and it is really looking like they took a very solid player. He's currently playing in the Liga, and he's putting up some solid numbers there as well. He put up 39 points in 44 games, and then after being traded, he played 5 games with a new team and put up 4 points. So Winnipeg is looking like they got a very solid player with the 24th overall draft pick. At number 16 is Sam Steele of the Anaheim Ducks. He was drafted in the first round, 30th overall, back in 2016. He spent his entire junior career playing with the Regina Pats of the WHL, his best season coming in 2016, where he put up 131 points in just 66 games, which is absolutely crazy. Many of you probably know him for having the crazy outdoor backyard rink and for playing very well for Team Canada at the World Juniors, and Anaheim is really probably relying on him heavily to come in and lead this team in the future. At number 15 is Yusuf Valley of the Calgary Flames. He was drafted 16th overall in the 2017 NHL draft. He's currently playing in the WHL for the Tri-City Americans, where he put up 45 points in 43 games this past season, and for a defenseman, that is some pretty good numbers. And scouts coming into the NHL has this to say about him. He has good vision and puck moving ability, has no panic to his game, and waits for his options. Another scout said he is highly skilled puck handler and utilizes his reach and size very effectively. It's looking like this guy could be a potential power play specialist and play a big part of the Calgary Flames' future on the blue line. At number 14 is Ilya Samsonov of the Washington Capitals, drafted 22nd overall back in 2015, currently playing in the KHL and putting up some good numbers over there, but it's going to be interesting to see as if he really does have a future with the Washington Capitals, as they already have their elite goaltender in Braden Holtby. This guy certainly does have a lot of trade value, as goalies are highly touted in today's NHL, especially young ones, and he certainly does have the potential to be a fantastic NHL goalie, whether it's with the Washington Capitals or with any other team in the league. At number 13 is Kirill Kaprizov. Many of you probably heard of him from scoring the overtime winner in the Olympics to beat out Germany and win Russia the gold medal. He was a 5th round draft pick, 135th overall by the Minnesota Wild, and it's looking like they got an absolute steal in him, as he's been putting up fantastic numbers in the KHL and he looked really good in the Olympics. But what sucks for Wild fans is you're going to have to wait a couple more years, as he's still under contract with the KHL, I believe until 2020, but when he does come over, you can bet he's going to make an immediate impact with the Minnesota Wild. At number 12 is Gabriel Carlson of the Los Angeles Kings. He was drafted with the 11th overall pick back in the 2017 NHL draft, and it is kind of looking like the Los Angeles Kings' best days are behind them, and they're going to start to look forward and put some more youth in the lineup, and I really do think Gabriel Carlson is a very important piece to the future of this team, as it's kind of up in the air as how many good seasons do they have left, but they certainly do have some very good young players to come in and take over this team once Doughty, Kopitar, Carter, and all them guys are no longer in their prime. At number 11 is Henrik Borgstrom of the Florida Panthers. He was drafted 23rd overall back in the 2016 NHL draft. He's already played in 4 NHL games and has 1 goal, which is very nice to see. He's currently playing for the University of Denver, where he put up 52 points this past season and was a Hobey Baker Award finalist, so that is very good to see for the Florida Panthers, and he really just adds to the already amazing young core and all of the good prospects that this team already has. At number 10 is Carter Hart of the Philadelphia Flyers. He was drafted in the 2nd round, 48th overall back in 2016, and Philadelphia has really gotten a gem in Carter Hart. He is arguably the best goaltender ever to play in the CHL. He's been putting up absolutely ridiculous numbers over the years that he's played there, and he really did got a lot of recognition after playing for Team Canada in the World Juniors. And with all of the goaltending woes that the Philadelphia Flyers do have, you can bet that we will see Carter Hart playing as a full-time starting goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers in the near future. At number 9 is Lias Andersson of the New York Rangers. He was drafted with the 7th overall pick in the 2017 NHL draft. He's already played in 7 games, and he has a goal and an assist for 2 points. He played 25 games in the American Hockey League this past season, putting up 5 goals and 9 assists for 14 total points, and he's looking like he's going to be an absolute gem at the center position for the New York Rangers, and they have to be happy with what they've seen out of him so far at the NHL and at the AHL level, and he most definitely is going to be a full-time NHLer next season. At number 8 is Robert Thomas of the St. Louis Blues. He was drafted with the 20th overall pick in the 2017 NHL draft, and he's another guy that really did make a name for himself playing for Team Canada, winning gold at the World Junior Championships, and he put up 6 points in 7 games. And he's looking like he's going to be a stud for the St. Louis Blues team that has a couple of good young prospects. They also have Jordan Kyrou, who is another guy who is tough to decide between who I think has the potential to be better, but I decided to go with Robert Thomas as I think he's a more well-rounded player, but the future really is bright in St. Louis, and Robert Thomas is going to be a focal point there for many years to come. At number 7 is Cale Makar of the Colorado Avalanche. He was drafted 4th overall back in the 2017 NHL draft, and he's put up some solid numbers in junior. 75 points in 54 games in the AJHL are some very good numbers for a defenseman. And at the University of Massachusetts in 34 games, he put up 21 points. So Colorado, you can bet, is really going to be relying on him heavily to lead their blue line in the future. At number 6 is Cody Glass of the Vegas Golden Knights. He was the first ever draft pick by Vegas, 6th overall in the 2017 draft. He's played his whole junior career with the Portland Winterhawks, his best season coming in this past season, putting up 102 points in 64 games. And for a guy who's morely known as a two-way forward and has great defensive abilities, 102 points in 64 games must be very, very nice to see for the Vegas Golden Knights. And he's a guy I could see potentially sliding into the lineup as soon as next season and being an immediate impact. At number 5 is Eli Tolvanen of the Nashville Predators. They drafted him 30th overall back in the 2017 NHL draft, and you can bet if there was a redraft, he would most likely be going in the top 5 or top 10. He's played in 3 NHL games, hasn't put up any points yet, but he is going to be a full-time NHLer on the roster next season 100%. In the KHL this year, he put up 36 points in 49 games, and Nashville signed him towards the end of the season, hoping he would be ready for the playoff run, but he wasn't quite ready yet. But you can bet next season he's going to be an impact player as the Nashville Predators try to get back to the Stanley Cup Finals where they were a year ago. At number 4 is Martin Necas of the Carolina Hurricanes. He was drafted with the 12th overall pick in the 2017 draft, and like I said, this draft was awesome for centers, and he really is looking to be a stud for the Carolina Hurricanes. He's playing professionally over in the Czech Republic, where he put up 17 points in 24 games, and he really played well with Filip Zadina in the World Junior Championships. He's already made his NHL debut, just one game, no stats to show for it, but you can bet this guy is going to be the number 1 center on the Carolina Hurricanes sooner than you think. At number 3 is Miro Heiskanen of the Dallas Stars, drafted 3rd overall in the 2017 draft, playing in the Liga. In the 17-18 season, he put up 23 points in 30 games, and as a defenseman in that league, those are some very good numbers, and you can bet that him and John Klingberg on the same blue line is going to be nasty in the next couple of years. And reports have came out that people said Dallas Stars fans aren't even ready for how good Miro Heiskanen actually is, and I'm very excited to see how he plays next season. At number 2 is Casey Mittelstadt of the Buffalo Sabres, drafted 8th overall in the 2017 NHL draft, and like I said with Tolvanen, if there was a redraft, he would most definitely go higher. He's already played 6 NHL games and has a goal and 4 assists for 5 points, and he looked fantastic in those games. He played at the University of Minnesota, where he put up 30 points in 34 NHL games, and the future of Buffalo just keeps getting on brighter and brighter as you have Eichel, Mittelstadt, Alex Nylander, obviously you have Rasmus Dahlin coming up, and Rasmus Ristolainen. So this team really is going to be a force, especially with Casey Mittelstadt in the next couple of seasons. And finally, at number 1, we have Elias Pettersson of the Vancouver Canucks, drafted 5th overall in the 2017 NHL draft. I mean, what record did this guy not break? It seems like he broke so many records this past season. 44 games played, 24 goals, and 32 assists for 56 points in the Elite League, and he brought his team to a championship, and Vancouver is probably ecstatic to get this guy. They signed him to his entry-level deal this summer, and you can bet he's going to be on the roster playing with Brock Besser next season, and that is going to be one of the funnest duos to watch in the entire NHL. So that is going to wrap up the video. I really hope you guys did enjoy. Sorry if it was a little bit long. I didn't want to ramble on and talk too much about each individual player, but this was a fun video to make. Make sure to let me know what you guys thought of it down in the comment section below. Make sure to drop a like on it. If you disagree, just let me know why down in the comment section below. And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please drop a like on it like I said a million times, and subscribe for daily NHL content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.